I currently have with me Michael Redmond of Redmond Worldwide. She's actually a risk management consultant. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
I One of the reasons I am doing these interviews is because coronavirus have actually hurt a lot of businesses, and when walking around Chinatown, I noticed that a lot of businesses are closed. So I'm doing these to actually help businesses who to get them on the web so that the business owners can share how they got started and that bring them more business. Viewers. Michael, welcome. We've been friends for actually a very long time. We met through one of the
Going on, I think, 2 decades almost.
yeah, something like that. I didn't yeah, and we met through I think was it Bob Quintana, Tony
That's
Robbins
right.
program.
Yes, New
Yes.
Jersey.
Wow. Yes. It was a very long time.
That's actually a little over 2 decades ago.
I know. Let's see. You've been in business for quite a long while, and I wanted to find out about how you got started in your business. I know that you are an entrepreneur, so you have a couple of different businesses going on. Can you share about what is it that you do?
It's interesting. What I do is I have two different fields. One is risk management, and in that, my firm, redmondworldwide.org, uh, we cover business continuity, disaster recovery, cybersecurity, information security, emergency management, different areas of medical device quality assurance, etc. And I have teams. I have teams that work for me around the world, and we can handle large projects or small projects. And all my teams are made up of independent consultants that work for the company, and we find that that works very well. This way, if we don't have projects for them right now, we're not holding them back. They can move forward and they're available when we are. It's a really nice synergies. And these are people I've worked with for a long time. And there's a lot of, I know their skill sets, etc. The other side of my business is solutionfocusedcoaching.com. And the quicker way to get into that website is just put in msmichael.com, MSMICHAEL.com. It's sort of a quick way to get in there. So, but with that, having done business continuity, having dealt with cyber issues, I saw employees stressed, not mine, my clients' employees, really stressed. Having gone through different situations, especially 9/11, I saw people just not able to cope 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later. I said,
Wow.
I have to be able to do something about this. So I went and did my PhD in psychoneurology, which is specializing in crisis psychology as well as organizational and executive. So I help executives be able to move forward in their careers. I help executives understand the emotions that are holding them back, or what it is that an emotion they're choosing to experience that they're not. Maybe it's peace. Maybe that's what they're not feeling. So they're so concentrating on one area of their life and there's no work-life balance. And my book on work-life balance, by the way, it's Mastering Your Work-Life Balance, and work-life is separate words. So it's Mastering Your Work-Life Balance, is being sold in 35 countries. So it shows you this is an international problem among executives, that the stress that is being caused from trying to be everything to everybody. And we bring that back a step. So I do my coaching and therapy in the evenings when executives are free. And by day, I'm a risk manager, and that's balance for me. And I don't coach every night. I only accept 10 clients at a time. And others are on a waiting list. And that's worked out very well for me. And it's been exciting. It's an exciting path. And the way that I got into this was my daughter was 5, and I was working in Germany for American Express. And we were driving down the block, and there have been a lot of car bombings, but disasters always happen to other people. Not so. We were driving down the block, and we heard boom.
Wow.
Our car literally went at least 3 feet up in the air, literally 3 feet up in the air, and hit the ground. That boom, the second boom, was our car hitting, not the bomb.
Wow.
My daughter, who I've been training about stay calm in case of bombs, etc., because they were going on, and we were working in Germany at the time. I was for American Express International Banking, Business Banking. I was actually their international military banking division. We were on near the army bases, and this was in Frankfurt. Someone had put a bomb under a car in the shopping area where the military shop, the PX area. And there were 8 injuries that day. We were 2 city blocks away. My daughter looked at me and she said, "Mommy, don't be frightened, but I think there may be a bomb in our car." She was 5.
Wow.
And I said, "That's a great reaction. Glad that you're staying calm as you were trained. We're okay about the car, but we're okay." I said, "We're going to go home." We got into the house and she said, "Mommy," she went in the bedroom, the living room, walked around, walked in the bathroom. She came out and she said, "Mommy, all of your makeup exploded from the sound, all of it. There's makeup all over." She said, "This is too much for any mommy to have to bear, worrying about me and worrying about your makeup." I was not worried about the makeup, but she was fine. And she said, "Go sit down, make yourself a cup of tea and let me clean the bathroom." And I said, "No, we're going to clean it together." But she was more concerned about me and I was more concerned about her. And I said, "Okay, this is a great reaction. I did something right in helping her feel calm. I did not do something right in helping her be who she was. That was on her own." And I said, "I wish there was a way that I could help other families feel as calm in a situation like this." My neighbors were not. All of the windows in my neighbors' homes had been blown out now. So we sat down and we talked about what's great about the situation. We're alive. What's great about the situation? I can get new makeup. What's great about the situation? Our window didn't break. What's great about the situation? Your toys are safe. And we went through and did this. And I said, "Okay, I'd like to do this too for people." So that's how I said, okay, I wound up getting into, I was at Bank of New York and in the National Guard now, a few years later. And I was in the ladies' room washing my hands. And this woman came up and she said, "Hi, you work in the department next to me. And my name is Barbara." I said, "Hi, Barbara, how are you?" We're washing our hands in the ladies' room. And she said, what area are you in?" And I told her, I said, "I'm also in the National Guard and I'm very excited. My plan for emergency management for our unit," I was company commander, my plan has just been selected as the template for every National Guard unit in New York State." She said, "Why aren't you working for me?" I said, "What do you do?" She said, "I do business continuity and disaster recovery," which is the ITDR for the technology aspects. And I do business continuity for the entire business for Bank of New York. I said, "But I do emergency management." She said, "Emergency management is dealing with the masses at that time, dealing with emergencies, the people and out there, etc. We're working on the same situation, but for the business." She said, "So would you be interested?" I finished washing my hands. By the time I dried my hands, she had left, gone to my boss. They went to HR and asked for a transfer. I hadn't even come out the door yet. So I said, "This is how I got in this field." Wow. But it all happened because of that car going 3 feet up in the air. Had I not had that experience, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be helping corporations. Like, I helped 10 of my clients, the World Trade Center, all 10 recovered within 24 hours. Not the people necessarily. That's emergency management, life safety, but the companies.
You mean the people using the
All
work-life
10 of
balance?
my clients, the World Trade Center. No, all 10 clients of mine in the World Trade Center using my business continuity plans
Okay.
that I had designed for them. Their businesses recovered in 24 hours.
Wow.
Other businesses, I don't know if you're not on World Trade Center, 50% of companies that did not have a plan went out of business within the first 2 years. 70% of the others that did not have good plans went out of business within 3 to 5 years after that. So my clients have survived and they're all still in business. And I said, okay, that's great. How could I have dealt with the emotional aspects? How could I have helped them even better? And that's when I did the doctorate in psychoneurology. So I could be able to be better serving of my clients, because I'm in business to work with risk, whether that risk is from a business continuity point of view, the business going out of business because of a fire, a flood, a terrorism attack, a natural disaster, a technological disaster, a cyber event that takes the data, the ransomware, a breach, whether it's that or whether it's the risk of someone not being who they're supposed to be and following their true path. They're both risk. So that's where I got where I'm at.
Wow. And you've been doing this for how long?
I've been doing this almost 20 years. Yeah. Well, actually, just before 9/11. That's when I started doing it. I was working at the time for a company, and yeah. So it's been a great path, and I've gotten 30 certifications over the years. So some of my certifications have been both as an implementer, senior lead implementer, with ISO international standards, and senior lean auditor. So some of my certifications, just some, are in information security, business continuity management, project management, environmental management. I'm just looking at my list here, just a few of them. Privacy management, GDPR, anti-bribery, corporate governance, asset management. They're all related to risk management, all of
Wow.
them. And people don't realize that's all risk. And I also teach part-time as an adjunct professor for St. Thomas Law School. I
Okay.
teach the at St. Thomas University's Masters in Law program. These are lawyers that are coming in from Masters in Cyber Law. And I
Wow.
co-teach with a lawyer because I am not a lawyer in order to teach the law school, but I teach the cybersecurity to the lawyers. What are the issues that their clients should be looking at? How do they have good governance? What is a good policy? What should they have in place? And it's kind of exciting. And then I also teach part-time for PECB University, and I teach certification classes through them. By the way, if anyone's interested in those, they can contact me. And as an instructor, I get $100 discount code I can give them. So if anyone's interested in that, they can reach out to me at my cell phone. I'm fine with that. 917-882-5453. 917-882-5453. And if you're a spam caller, please don't call.
I'm going to put a little promotional thing on the end of the slides later.
But I wanted people to know that for the classes. I'm not concerned about
Gotcha.
the businesses. But for students, I wanted them to be able to get that discount. For businesses, I haven't said anything how they can reach me. But for the students, I want them to be able to get that because a lot of students want to take the certification classes. And I think every employee who's in these fields should be certified. And that's why I asked the school if they would give me a code to give out to people as an encouragement to them.
You have this passion ever since I met you for anything that you actually get into. Like how I mean, where does all this motivation come from?
That car going up in the air, 3 feet.
That was it.
That's a big point. I also lost 2 aunts who were very young.
Okay.
My sister died very young, and seeing people die very young is. I mean, I have a doctor that said one time, well, not everybody lives to 100, so there's no such thing as dying young. That's true. There's no dying young. Anybody under 100, we say they died young, and it's true. However, they had so many plans they didn't get to do. They kept putting them off. And when both my aunts passed, and I saw that
Wow.
they had done, my one aunt had traveled all over the world, done everything, but she hadn't done everything that was on her to-do list, her bucket list. My other aunt had a great life too, but not everything on her bucket list. And I said, okay, let's prioritize our bucket list in case tomorrow is the last day, which it could be. We never know. We can go out and hit by a car. Tomorrow's my last day. Every day I say, if tomorrow was my last day, if today's my last day, what do I want to do today that's going to be exciting? What's most important today? Being with you on this call today was most important. Each thing is it going to bring me joy? Is it going to bring me joy in the future? Is it going to bring somebody else joy? And that's what I ask myself. And that's my motivation.
I know that you share, you're also a good mom because you share stories about your kids when we were talking. And it's like, wow, I mean.
Yeah, being a mom is my greatest job in the entire world. She's an adult now, and she is, I'm very proud of her. She's followed her dreams. She continues to follow her dreams, and she didn't wait. She was in college, and she called me, and she said, okay, I saved up some money from my part-time job, I just want to let you know I'm flying over to meet a friend in Amsterdam. She got a job for the summer in Amsterdam. I'm going to fly over and stay with her for a week. And I'm like, okay, that's good in college. A friend's got a part-time job there. And then we went to Paris, and one of her friends that I graduated the year before was living there working as a photographer. And she said, and I noticed that her friends just went, I said, this is great. No matter what country we go to, somebody from your class is working in that country. And I said, this is a really good group of people. And they just found each other, and they became friends. And they're all people that follow their path.
What can you tell for people who are watching this in the future about following their paths?
Find out what your path is. Is it a path that you were told you were supposed to be on when you were little? Is it a path that your parents thought was good? What's your path? And there's no such thing as a path. Have you ever gone hiking in a forest, or even walking through a forest, or have you gone hiking up hills? There's no straight line. We say it's a path, but it's got twists and turns, just like this tree behind me. Each one of these routes came from one path coming straight up, and then they branched out. So there's nothing that says, okay, you finished this branch, that you can't go back and start the next branch, and go back and start the next branch, and go back and start the next branch. But there's two choices if you're looking for money. One branch takes less time, will get you the financial goals you want much sooner. Following many branches, such as I do, will bring you the happiness in those branches. But you may, if you're taking, you only have 100% of energy, and if you're separating that into 3 different areas, and you're doing each area at 100% level for that 33, that you're doing. For me, my business continuity business, my clients are ecstatic. My coaching business, my clients are ecstatic. But I limit it to 10 employees, 10 consulting clients because of my spans. I don't have to limit my business continuity business, my cybersecurity business, because I can replicate my energies by using the people on my team. So that one's never limited. But I choose to limit the coaching and because that's me. That's me offering them that service.
Mhm.
And I do it different than somebody else would. So in that area, that's an area of my life and my path that I stay on. And the teaching is something that I like as a hobby. I won't give it up. I feel being so knowledgeable in my field that if I could help a manager somewhere in their field, in business continuity, disaster recovery, cyber, be even 25 to 30% of what I know today, that might improve their abilities by 100% for them. I've been in the field a long time. I've got all these certifications. I've studied with different people. I've flown to take workshop. A great workshop was going on in Singapore. I missed that one, and I keep saying, I missed that one. I missed that one. And I just got asked if I would teach the risk management course for one of the companies in Singapore. And I said, the fact that I missed the workshop was okay because they still knew it still helped me. But I went and took the class locally. I have a group of friends I met 6 years ago at a class on penetration testing. And it was these 17 fellows, and they said, we get together every 6 months and take certification classes in different countries. And all the ISO certification classes are taught, international certification are taught in English. So I've met them every 6 months before COVID. I met them in Paris, another time in Nice, France, another time in Frankfurt. I've met them in Stockholm. I've met them in Portugal. So I combine my vacation. My vacation is meeting with my friends who are international from all over the world. From these classes I met, people are from literally all over the world. And we have every continent covered, every single continent.
Wow.
And we go to class from 8 a.m. We finish at 5, go back and shower, meet again at 6, go out for supper, finish supper, go sightseeing till midnight, whatever we can see that's around. Come back and study till 3 and get up again, meet again at 7 for breakfast. And we crash at the end of the week after our certification exams. But for me, it allows me work-life balance and find that passion. Don't do it alone. Find those 17 friends that love to do what you do so that you can go and take these classes together and it becomes your social life. Find the people at work that you like. That water coolers that our great grandparents had. Today they don't have water coolers. We don't have that section, but we still have the little coffee place where you can go and get coffee in most of the places. Stop for a second. Ask someone what their name is. Ask them if they go out to lunch. Invite them to lunch. You have to be at work 8 hours if you're not an entrepreneur. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be at work 8 hours or more. So get to know the people that you can, even if it's through Zoom. I have lunch meetings with people from Zoom. We actually schedule a lunch meeting. Some of them are clients. Some are people that I've met with doing business. And we connect. So allowing you to have that work-life balance. We're talking about business, but we're socializing too. How are the kids? How's this? How's that? What are your plans for the summer? What do you plan to do next week? And we're listening. We're really listening. So I encourage them to find their path by finding ways to do it with other people.
Okay.
Who wants to go hiking alone the rest of their lives? Find somebody, as you do. You're entering people that you know, that you're getting to know. This is probably personal time for you. It's not just work time. It's getting to know more about somebody than they would ever tell you normally. And I encourage them 5 things. Allow yourself to change paths if you decide the tree limb you're on is not the one you want to be on. It's okay. As long as you're still breathing and still above ground, it is not too late to change your path. You can still do it. Take a class, learn something new, go the new path, add a path on. Most people don't change paths 100%. They're coming up the original path they went, and they're just taking different limbs. That original path is still there. So, where is it from the original path that you loved? And what new tree limb are you supposed to be going to? And when you do that, bring somebody with you. Ask yourself, does it bring you joy? Not does it bring you money? It's okay to say, will this bring me joy and money? But add the joy in that sentence. And the fourth thing that you do is to make sure that you allow yourself to say, this is not the path I thought it was going to be. I want to change paths. It's okay. It's the same tree limb, the same route that you came up through. You're just choose. Imagine if I came up this tree behind me and I only stayed on one of them. I would have missed all these other paths. I want to see every branch. I'm only on the earth right now. I want to see every branch in my path. For me, somebody else may say, no, the money's on the very top. That's true. And there's nothing wrong with taking the one path, getting to the money right away, and then come back and visit the other. The only reason I chose not to do that is because both my aunts passed very young and my sister passed very young. And I said they didn't have time to see the other paths.
Mm.
So I changed my patterns, but I still retired as a lieutenant colonel from the National Guard. I did from the Army. I did 4 years active duty, 18 and a half National Guard and Reserve.
Wow. And
I retired as a lieutenant colonel. I've still been a professor for the master's program at St. John's University. I've been an adjunct professor for the law school at St. Thomas. I still have traveled to every single continent of the world. I still have been a platinum partner with Tony Robbins and traveled with him for 9 weeks all over. I went with him to China. I went with him to all these great countries. I did all sorts of experiences. And while I was sightseeing, I found more and more of me. So find yourself on your path. And if you don't know who you are yet, let's find that out first before you choose your path. You may choose a different path.
Along the line of the same question, what about if someone wanted to get into business continuity, like you?
I would say the first thing to do is come take a class in it. I would not take a certification class first. You'll be absolutely lost. They could start by reading my book and see if they even like the field. The book, I'm very, very grateful. My book on mastering, and they can get it at Barnes and Noble's online. You order online, and Barnes and Noble's has it in the store within 2 days. So it's called Mastering Business Continuity Management by Dr. Michael C. Redmond. And it's been rated one of the top 16 books in the world for 2021 and 2020 for the field. So I'm very excited. It's currently mandatory reading for the PhD program at St. John's University. It's mandatory reading at St. Thomas.
Wow.
That wasn't my requirement. That was a requirement before I came in. It's mandatory reading for other universities. And that will allow you to see if you even like the field. And then I have a series of audio trainings on that. It's a 16-hour lecture on business continuity management. They can get that at redmondworldwide.org. All of the training for business continuity, introduction to cybersecurity, etc. That's on there, and they can listen to them. And these tapes are pretty thorough. They're being used by the government in Lagos, Nigeria, for internal training. NASA bought them at one point in time to use internal training. Dexia Bank has used them. Gartner has used them. So large corporations have used these 16. It's a learn and drive. Comes out of thumb drive. You put the thumb drive in your car. You drive along, and you're learning as you're going around, combining things together. Going to the grocery store, learning. Going to get a haircut, learning. Driving to pick up the kids, learning. And so it's worked out very well. And after listening to those, then you can actually come and sit on the certification class. And then you would have a background. Now, you won't get certified. You're not going to have the years of requirements you need, but you'll learn how to implement it even better and even faster. And once you have 2 years in the field, then that training class you took, have you passed the 3-hour exam, will allow you to get the minimum certification. And then after 5 years, it'll be moved up to lead. And after 10 years, it goes to senior lead. Because you have to show continuing education units each year. So you're learning along the way, not just being in the field that long. But that's the path. I would start with my book.
Any prerequisite for college degree?
I I wouldn't go to the college degrees until I read the book and listened to the audio for 16 hours. Find
Okay.
out if it's what you want.
Okay.
Find out if it's what you want. And then get the certification first, then go get the college.
Hmm.
Because once you have those things in place, you could be working part-time
Okay.
as an intern for a company while you're in college. It gives you a heads up.
Okay.
Unless somebody's coming in straight out of college, high school, which is usually not the first field they pick.
Okay.
So usually the business continuity management classes are on a master's level
Hmm.
because they want you to take general management classes first, undergrad or
Okay.
engineering or whatever field you want, and then you go for the business continuity management on the master's level. Now, some colleges, of course, teach it. I taught it at New York University.
Mhm.
They don't have it anymore, but NYU used to have a 6-month certificate program in it, but they don't have it anymore. But
Mhm.
there are colleges that teach it. For Mercy College, it was a required course as one of the courses. So a lot of colleges will teach it as one course.
Okay.
But this will, if you want to jump into the field while you're doing college, I would do the book, listen to the audios, get the ISO certification training. It's 32 hours of additional training. You get a certificate saying you completed the 32 hours of training. And now you have something while you're in college or in grad school to be able to say to somebody, look, I've completed the following things.
Mhm.
And we have consultants who wanted to get into the different areas and listened to them and and were able to show that, yes, they had purchased them and such, and we give them a little, then we'll contact them. Yes, they did we can't guarantee they listen to them. We're not giving an after test.
Mhm.
But we will say that this is what the course entails.
Okay.
And as a consultant, I have had a number of people write back to us and say, I got this consulting assignment because I was able to show that I had done the Redmond Worldwide training, the audio training.
Wow.
And yeah, pretty excited about that. And also, after listening to that, they're also allowed, after they listen to my 16-hour audio training, they are allowed to go and sit for the Disaster Recovery Institute certification exam. So they will accept my training in lieu of their own.
Wow.
And that's through the audio training. So yeah, so I spent a lot of time on these. These were produced professionally in a live studio. So we did quite a lot of work on it, and they've had very good results. You know, they're to my knowledge, the only outside training that Disaster Recovery Institute, they beta tested it with one of their employees and then had them sit for the exam. So that if someone says that they've listened to my audio training, Disaster Recovery Institute actually gives them 20 continuing education credits. So even if they're already certified and they've listened to the audio training, they get 20 continuing education credits. And the same for ISO. They will both give 20 continuing education credits just for listening to those classes. So they must be doing something right if they decided all these organizations said these are the only audio trainings in the world that they're doing this for. So I'm very proud of that.
How has COVID actually changed your business?
Well, I haven't seen anybody in person. So it's originally was very difficult. A lot of companies have lost their budgets, you know, and as a consultant, as such, you know, if the client doesn't have a budget, we're kind of in the limit. So it's been about finding what they do need. A lot of my clients needed pandemic plans. So I had to not do business as usual. I said, how do we do business going forward? Not now. What changes can I make that go forward? Because if anyone thinks that they don't need a pandemic plan all the time, they're wrong. We had SARS, and it hit New York City, but it wasn't that bad. We had Legionnaire's disease on the ships and such years ago. People forgot it. SARS came again, twice, 2 years apart. But because the numbers weren't as immense, people forgot. They let it go. I did pandemic plans for people during SARS. They didn't maintain them. Now, to answer your question, now I tell people, let's sign a 5-year maintenance program. Let's put a 5, and I will guarantee to keep the current rates for 5 years to help them. In some cases, 3 years. You know, and then we have a jump at 5 years. We put it, but still a much lower rate than it will be what my rates are going to be in 5 years. So this allows them to know that they're budgeting for it now. They have a 5-year budget. They put under one project in many cases, so they've got that in place, and it allows me to manage my clients. I know how many clients I already have next year, how many clients I already have in 2005. I know what projects I have to do for them. And I don't just wait till I show up to work with them. I'm thinking about them. What would they need? Gee, I could do that for them next year. What would they need? I could do that for them next year. Where if they just came in the door, I wouldn't be able to do that for them because I would know they were coming in. So it's kind of like you think of buying a Christmas gift for someone. You don't just go out the day before Christmas to buy the gift. You're thinking about it from the Christmas the day. You're thinking it from December 26th. What can I get them next year? And so that's the way it helps with. So that's a big change. It's allowing me to service my clients better. Much harder for marketing. When I'm doing, before I was doing a lot of speaking engagements in person. Now I have to do the speaking engagements via Zoom, which is fine. It's given me actually more scope, but I had to, we had to wait. The beginning of COVID, there was nothing. Nothing was set up. Conferences weren't sure they were going to go online. They weren't sure what they were going to be setting up, speakers. So it's interesting because I've been able to speak for a conference in Australia. I'm going to be doing a training class for an entire corporation in Asia, as I just mentioned a little while ago, in Shanghai. And
Or from Zoom?
all from Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been, I did all my ISO certification training last week for 5 different corporations in the week. We had 5, they keep the classes smaller. When I teach live, a class could be as many as 30 students. We're teaching Zoom, they can do the classes more often.
Okay.
So we can have smaller classes. So last week I had 5 students in my class. My next class I have 9. So it's nice. It's nice because it allows me to have that connection on Zoom that I wasn't able to offer before. And it's before I had to fly. I love flying and going to see people, but before I would have had to fly to teach this class. I don't get paid from my client for flying time. I don't get paid for travel time.
Mm-hmm.
And I get paid the same rate via Zoom. So that's been a benefit, but I had to find a new way of doing it. And PECB, which is one of the, they not only do they run certification classes, but PECB can actually certify individuals for ISO, but they can also certify corporations through ISO certifications. So the law has changed. They're actually allowed to do some of the interviews via Zoom. Before we had to fly somewhere. So I'm missing my travel, my expense accounts that I was getting. I miss that. I do like going in, in the past few years, I've done training classes in South Africa,
Wow.
Edmonton, Canada. I mean, I miss that travel aspects of it, but I'm able to do it for Zoom. And a lot of people aren't good on Zoom, from what I've been hearing. I haven't seen issues with it, but people tell me they don't feel comfortable. So they're having problems finding instructors for Zoom that can come across the same as they do in person. And PECB just hired me in the last year since COVID. I have done, they decided they're going to put video training classes together for people that don't have time to do a live class. So they took 4 instructors, 1 instructors from 4 different countries.
Okay.
So for the information security audit and the information security lead implementer, they picked the 4 instructors that they wanted, who they thought could do it well over an 8-hour video. We were 8 hours in a professional studio speaking to no one but the cameraman who knows anything about information security or the crew. So 8 hours of recording. So I was hired to do the information security lead implementer, the lead auditor. I was selected as one of the 4 for business continuity, lead implementer, lead auditor, and there's some others scheduled. So it's allowed me, we go to the professional studio. Everyone's wearing masks even now. My last recording was just last month. Everyone has to be socially distanced. It's a same studio that McDonald's was making their commercials at in Rochester. I mean, it's a really big professional studio and huge. And there was the two camera people, the director, the sound engineer, somebody else that was going through and actually marking exactly what I was saying on what lines and where it was going and doing something else and somebody else. And then they had the person they were bringing me water and they had to wrap it. And each time they had to wrap it in a paper towel, bring it to me with everybody's mask at the distance, hand it out to me, get the mask, get the water. I would take the water, have to turn it around. They would take it with another paper towel, bring it back. So it made it really hard because what would have been a simple all-day shoot became much longer.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I still only had so much studio time. so that otherwise PECB would have had to pay overtime for studio time and staff time and kind of,
Okay.
so union people. I mean, so I had to spend a lot more time studying the week before to know everything. And it was because they're doing it quickly. I had some information on the teleprompter. Some of it was on slides. I had to be able to look at different screens and be looking at the two different cameras simultaneously. And that was a big change for me for COVID, a big change because we weren't doing this before. Exciting, exciting. And I had to find a lipstick that would not smear every time I put my mask back on between each take.
Oh boy.
And I'm gonna. I did find one. Cannot come off on the mask, but it took quite a lot of tries that I wouldn't have had to do prior to COVID. And it may not sound like much, but lipstick's expensive. And I said, okay, we've got all these lipsticks we can use after COVID, but not with mask. And we had to find makeup we could use with the mask because it had to keep coming on and off and on and off. And I had to look okay between the shoots. And because every time they had to come over and do makeup, it took away from the production time. And I know this sounds like no big deal. It was a huge deal for the production company. They had to hire new people. They had to have hire people to be able to clean the tables every time somebody touched it. They had to put dividers at the lunch table between each person so that when you sat, there was a cone around you so your air wasn't going to anybody else. It was a huge expense for them. And they're taking pay cuts because they had to hire all these additional people. I had to put in a lot of additional time because there was no time for me to do a lot of retakes. Some, but I had to make sure the pressure. I had to make sure that 8-hour shoot, 8 hours of talking was correct.
Wow.
So very different. Before, take 1, take 2, take 3. Now, every time they would say take 2, I'd say, they're taking money from the client. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh. Calm, breathe. And, but that's what was happening. I said, I have to get this right. So a lot of changes from COVID. So the business for me has been online. I'm doing my coaching, some of it now by video. I prefer to do it by phone. I've always done it by phone or in person. I prefer by phone because my coaching clients, my therapy clients, we call it coaching. Coaching is, I call it professional development. Professional development is tax deductible. I don't take insurance because I don't believe, and for insurance, I have to put down, although I have my doctorate, I would have to put down what's wrong with them. And I don't believe there's anything wrong with anybody. Just people haven't touched all the resources that they have available to them. They lost track of the roots. We just got to get them back to the root and back to the right path. So because of that, I don't take insurance. And so we call it coaching. But I do use emotional rational behavior. I do use a lot of meditation. By the way, my meditation on my site, Redmond World Solution Focused Coaching, they can go to msmichael.com. It'll bring them right there, msmichael.com. It's easier to get to the site. I have 45 meditations on there. I know you've used some of them in the past, years ago, and people have used them, and a lot of executives are using them. More so executives. We look at, the people that are taking them. I would say either executives or entrepreneurs are the people that are using our meditations that are continuing to take more. And as they move up in their fields, they're writing us little notes saying, hey, you know what? Can I still use that same meditation I got 5 years ago? Absolutely. Because you're in a different place and you're going to get a different message. Absolutely. But yeah, so I think that it's been a challenging route during COVID. But I think the key thing, and those of my clients that I've worked with that have had challenges, is it's not business as it used to be. Why would you want to keep your business like it used to be? Why not let your business develop like you develop? Why not find new ways of doing business? Why not find new exciting ways of doing business that you like to do? There's a company that has an ad, and they started during COVID. They couldn't make pizzas and have people come in the stores and wait for them and everything else. Just couldn't do it. They had to have outside. They didn't want to have, they were less staff in the building, et cetera. So how do we do this with less staff, et cetera? So what they did was they got on the news and they started talking about this product, and they're doing very well. It's a local store. They pre-package all the ingredients for families to make the pizza at home. So now they didn't have to pay for the cost of the ovens. Now they could go only with the staff they had that was packaging this stuff for the people that was going to be making the pizzas anyway. So you got your dough, you got your different type of sauce, you got your toppings that they would have, and you contacted them, you paid contactless, and they came out with a shopping bag and put it right in your car, and you went home and you made pizza with their ingredients that you loved, already pre-made. And so that was a new way of doing business. Another company, a local bike store, couldn't sell bikes, couldn't let people in the store. So they started selling the bikes using a online feature. And now they left it on all the time. People can make an appointment and see they'll show them all the bicycles they have in the store, just like they would if they came in the door. But now they find that they're shipping internationally for their bicycles instead of just down the block. So because they changed how they did business. How do you change? Many stores are closed. It's hard for a brick and mortar store to change. People want to come in, they want to buy a grocery. But some of them said, you know what, we're going to, instead, since we don't have, especially if it's a mom and pop store and you don't have a lot of staff, what do you do? But what they did, some of the stores say, tell us what you want. We'll get all your groceries ready. You know, because there was you had all the big chains delivering groceries to your house.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like a mom and pop store and you liked what they had, they could have set up a website. They could have taken some orders. They could have arranged the bags. And as people came to get the bags, it would still be contact delivery. But originally, people did not want to go to stores. They weren't traveling and they didn't have cars. And you're in the cities, you know, you're not driving someplace. And people didn't want to be out and about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as we've seen, restaurants are still unable to get staff coming in. And some of the restaurants I know that are having terrible problems is because they can't get anybody in the door to work there. Mm-hmm. One restaurant I know, the owner and the manager is now waitressing while taking care of the register, while taking care of people. And they're packed, but they can't get wait staff. So the airlines, American Airlines, has said that they are canceling many of their flights this summer because they cannot get their crew to come back. They don't want to come back. Some of it is because of during COVID, they're saying that people are very unruly. Passengers are very unruly on the airlines. There have been some fights and such going on, and people have been very nasty to the stewardesses and such, and they don't want to deal with it. So my suggestion to American Airlines is let's find a way to retrain the personnel, not the people, not the employees. Let's retrain the customers. If you're caught doing any of the following, you will never be allowed to fly on American Airlines again. Mm-hmm. Have some pre-punishments in a big sign before they get on. And I know that's bad for public relations. Bad public relations. Risk manager, I do marketing risk management, terrible for that. But more likely to get staff on and more likely to have a flight take off. Maybe you lose a customer. Maybe you lose 10 customers. But you're only going to lose customers who thought they were going to be unruly. So do you really care? So doing a I would think every company needs to do a risk assessment. What are the risks if I continue to do business as I've always done it? Where would I like to be doing business and where's my gaps? So I'd like to have a website. I don't know how to make a website. There's lots of people that would make websites inexpensively. I want to do something. I don't know how to write copy. You can go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, I believe it is, and you can get people for $20. There are people from different and around the world, and they will write some copy for you. They'll design your cards for you. So for $100, you could get your copy done. You could get your cards designed. You could be doing business in a new way. But finding that out, and that's what I work with. I work with a lot of small businesses under risk management and mom and pop stores. My smallest client is one person. One person business. But I helped him revamp his business. I didn't mention my background. I have a PhD in psychoneurology, but I have an MBA in international business and in marketing. And I've taught marketing for Mercy College also. I have a MBA in risk management. I just graduated with that in February. I'm very excited. I graduated with the highest grade point average from the school with a 3.87 index. So I'm very excited. And I'm completing my MBA in information security. So I have that background, but I come into an organization, do it yourselves. What risk, where am I at risk? Where am I losing money? Where am I losing customers? Where am I not going to be in business in a year? What do I need to do to make sure I'm in business in a year? And how do I learn a new way of doing it? And most important, how do I learn to say that won't work for me? How do I stop saying that won't work for me.
Hmm.
Every time somebody gives me an idea, many entrepreneurs' first reaction is that won't work for my business. You don't know my business. Okay, so what would work for your business? Well, I don't know. Then how do you know this idea won't work? Well, I haven't done it that way in the past. And how's the way you've been doing it getting you where you want to be? Well, it's not. Then again, this is a suggestion. Would you consider trying XYZ and let's see if it works on a small level? If we don't see an increase, we'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it works. Let's see how this happens. Let's see if we can make an effect on our business and for our customers so that we're still here for the customers that love us 5 years from now, 2 years from now. So we're not closed. You know, restaurants that closed, some of the restaurants that stayed, let's look at the restaurants that stayed open. Some of them started doing delivery only. They had trouble getting delivery people, but it was easier to get delivery people for some of them than to wait to be allowed to do business. In some cases, the owners went around and delivered themselves. In other cases, they were able to get delivery people to do it. And they said, we can't get delivery people. Well, there's many apps where they have delivery that people are using for food delivery and everything else. They were busy. They were busy. And, you know, one restaurant that I know was closing said, we can't do business like this. We don't have enough people coming in the door. And they did have Grubhub coming in and picking up some food, but they never started doing delivery. They did takeout, but people weren't coming in for takeout. So they had Grubhub coming in, but that wasn't enough. But they weren't marketing saying, hey, go to Grubhub. Order from us on Grubhub. They didn't have a website, even not even a website. Little mom and pop restaurant, but a nice restaurant. I liked it when it was in existence a lot. It's only served breakfast and lunch. They could have had a website that said, hey, this is the number for Grubhub. We serve to them. This is the number for such and such. They pick up from us. They didn't even have to bring in their own teams, but they had to find a way to let their customers know. And they hadn't planned ahead. How many diners have you gone into that said, would you like to be on our mailing list in the last year? Anybody?
A few, but I haven't really.
I've had none.
I mean, gone in, but no one actually has a mailing list.
Exactly. But they haven't said to you, would you like a mailing list? Right.
Nope.
And not one of them said to me, would you like to be on our mailing list to know specials? You know who did? This tiny little store. And the woman who does it, she's in her mid-80s. Little restaurant. She's in her mid-80s. She got her grandson to set up a website for them with a weekly special for takeout only. She included the ingredients that she was going to be making that she knew were very hard for people to be making. Fresh this, fresh that, fresh this. And then she didn't have a way. She didn't have email to send it out. She physically mailed each page to people with the special that month's specials coming up. So she had to do mailings once a month. They were just allowed to open. I went to go to dinner. I couldn't get in the door. I didn't have a reservation. She did not lose one customer during the year and almost a half that they were closed down and not allowed to have customers in because of her newsletter. Everybody felt connected. Every month when I got that newsletter, even though they were closed, even though I wasn't going to be driving the half hour to go pick up my food, I said, boy, I can't wait for them to open. Boy, I can't wait for them to open. But I did go periodically pick up food. Yeah, that looks great. Wow, what is that? What day is that? And she limited her menu, but she changed the menu to simple things. So they have 20 different types of salads. What's the basis for each one? Lettuce. How hard is it to say lettuce with mandarin, salad with mandarin oranges and nuts and strawberries, and then she has salads with grapefruit and this and that. So what happened was she recreated it. So people said, wow. And people got so used to the salads that when I did go into the store a few weeks ago, when I did get in for lunch, I made a reservation for lunch at 3:00. I got in. It's a little place, but it's incredible food. And they raised their prices. Nobody cares. We've been getting their newsletter every month. We got a little thing with her saying, this is what I'm doing this month. We felt connected to that restaurant. How hard would it be for every little diner to have done? How much is a stamp worth to you? And she sent it second-class mail. So that means the envelopes are not sealed. You fold it and you put it inside, and the shipping cost is a lot less. So who cared if somebody opened it? If they opened it, they would get her ad. But she just took a page paper, and it was both sides, one page. She saved money on the one page, and it had her menu on one side, the history of the restaurant on the back. And this is how long we've been in business. We're excited that we're going to be here for you when COVID's over. We hope you and your family are safe. Companies need to say, no business is normal. How do I do business going forward? What has to change for my business? What are my competitors doing? As I said, when they did the recording all day, they said they had people that did not want to do the recordings 8 hours. They said it's too hard to teach 8 hours to no one. I wasn't teaching to no one. I was teaching to every student who was going to be buying that video. It's a different mindset. And the question is that you asked me, what can they do? They can change their mindset. They can accept input and they can evaluate the risk and then implement new changes. That's it. It's very simple. In sentences, not simple to implement.
My last question to you, I'm going to have to end this soon, is I know that talk about challenges in your life besides
Okay.
what have you gone through? I know that you
Lots of
look
shy.
at things
I was
that
extremely shy in grammar school. I was
okay.
so shy that in third grade, the teacher, we had a little medical report they had to keep you had to hold your chart to go up and get your eye exam every year. And each person held their chart and I opened mine to read it. I wanted to see what they wrote about me. And it said, seems well, but is much, much too quiet. Me, much, much too quiet I was. I went home and cried. And my mom said, if you don't want to be shy, make believe you're not until you finally believe you're not. Just don't be. I said, just don't be. You're telling an 8-year-old, just don't be. She said, if you don't want to be it, don't be it. It's always your choice. Pretend you're not. And I went and found every shy kid in school and became friends with them until I started finding more and more people were shy. And I found out so many people were shy on different levels. And because I looked at it as not my going to meet them, my going to find another shy person, I wound up having me. That's one challenge. My first high school, I was bullied, really bullied by 4 girls.
You were bullied?
Terribly bullied.
Wow.
Terrible. Not the type you would have thought. I had this lead in the school play. I was only in the beginning of high school, my freshman year, a little bit of my sophomore year. I switched high schools the middle of my junior year.
Because of the bullying?
Partially. That's what, I was still president. I was president of the French club, editor of the French newspaper. I was the head of the social committee. I was I was one of the first women. I was in the Explorers, the Boy Scout Explorers. I ran community dances. I ran the school dance. I was not the one you would have thought was bullied.
Yeah. Wow.
I was bullied. They came in every day. We had to put our artwork around the classroom, the homeroom. And they came in every day early to take my artwork and turn it upside down.
Wow.
And the art teacher came in one day and she said, who keeps doing that to their artwork? Whose artwork that? And they said, it's Michael Redmond's. And I started to say, I didn't do it. She said, I don't want to hear a thing. You just stopped doing it. I'm tired of you. Now I'm watching you.
Wow.
So I went home and mom said, what are you going to do about it? She never fought my battles. What are you going to do about it? And let's try to come up with a strategy. You hear the words I was hearing very young? Let's come up with a strategy. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to accept it or are you not going to accept it? Those were words I had coming up. I was gifted in those words. So she didn't do this necessarily for herself, but she did it for me. So it was an interesting thing. So, she was kind of like, I wish I had. Let me help my daughter do what I wish I had done. Type thing. She never was bullied. She was a tomboy. Nobody bullied her, but she had other things going on, of course, in her lives. And they asked for someone to come in and put out the school flag every day, a half hour early. My friend Mary said she would come in with me. We got up a half hour early every day to go into school. So we would be in the classroom before these 4 girls showed up. When I went back to one of them at one of the school reunions and asked why they had done it, she didn't remember. They didn't even remember doing it. I was visible. I was the person they picked. I was, had the school play, I was not the person you would have expected.
Wow.
So that was a challenge. Another challenge was I was in the Army at a time when they didn't want women at all.
Wow.
They were actually, and I had to deal with that. Another challenge, I went for my MBA when they required 7 years work experience to get in the door. I came straight out of college. So I made an appointment with the dean of Fordham University and said, your site says you have to have 7 years work experience. I brought my resume. He says, this goes back to when you were 13. I said, well, I'm only 20. I'm applying for next year at 21, and I'm only 20. So yeah. And he said, babysitting this? I said, your site does not say what you consider professional work experience. I was a professional babysitter. I got my certification through the Girl Scouts at 13. That makes me a professional. And I put everything together and he said, okay, you know what? You're right. We've got to change our website. In the meantime, welcome to the school. And I wound up becoming the vice president of the student council for the grad school. But the point is, they were challenges. I had to say what's there and how do I move past it. So those are some of the big challenges. They're big challenges. And I had to learn to keep smiling while I was going through it.
Hmm.
And then I had to learn to smile internally.
Wow. Most people were probably giving up.
Pardon me?
Most people probably have given up already.
Yeah, I know. They have. And you know what? Then the others win. Giving up is the key word. The only way you can lose is by giving up, by stopping. That's how this tree behind me would have died had I not continued to follow the branches, had I not continued, assume I was that tree, had I not continued to nourish my soul, had I not continued to go work-life balance, had I not continued to develop me. It's constant, continuous, and never-ending improvement. I use my own meditations at night. I listen to my meditations. When I listen to them, I don't know it's me, but I'm listening to the messages. I reread my own book, Work-Life Mastery, every 6 months. I do all the exercises in it. It doesn't matter that I wrote it. I go back and say, how does this apply to me today? And I go back and do the work. So I'm excited to see where I'm going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we're both going to be. And I want to thank you for today and this opportunity, Benson, and your friendship. And I appreciate that you're giving this opportunity to entrepreneurs. Because you're right. Please don't take me wrong when I was saying businesses closed. Some businesses were at a loss, and they're still at a loss. It's just that we have to figure out what can we do going forward to make our business different and better in the new world. Zoom is not going away. Online is not going away. Online orders are not going away. If you notice, many of the large department stores closed during COVID, and they're not coming back. People's way of shopping is different. People like being at home now. They like not having to get on the subway for an hour every morning. They like being able to be home with their kids. Business has changed, and we have to change with it. And we have to look at do an assessment of what our clients' needs are going to be, what our customers' needs are going to be, and how can we best meet those interests and needs. And that's the sum.
I am done for an interview. I'm going to pause this right now. Michael, I'm going to end this up, but before I continue, can you give your contact information
Sure.
on how people reach you? I'm going to have your thing at the end, but if you can say something.
That'd be great. So if they want the business continuity, the cybersecurity, et cetera, video, the audio training, or if they want information on that, or consulting or audit information, that would be redmondworldwide.org, REDMOND worldwide.org. If they want the coaching or therapy, they can reach out to me individually. They can call me. They can also see on my website all of the meditations that they can download. When they go into the website, it'll have a large amount of money there, and it'll say, hey, this is the grouping we suggest, because it's at a huge discount if they get the grouping. So for instance, if they want to do goal setting, there's a 4-week program. So you would listen to one meditation every day for 7 days. That's the first part. And then you go to the second meditation for 7 days, the third one. And while you're doing it, you're writing your new business plan, your new COVID plan, where you're going to be, how to increase your business. And it's a 4-week program. So that would be the series. But if somebody wanted to just click on the individual photo, then they could buy each one individually for $19.95. They're very inexpensive. So I just want to make that clear. But most people want to buy them in groupings. But if they wanted to, they could. The easiest way to get into that is to go to MSMichael.com. Easiest, and that'll refocus you back to solutionfocuscoaching.com. They just want the audio, the CDs. They can go to S as in Sam, F as in Frank, C as in Charlie, C as in Charlie, D as in Delta, S as in Sam.com, and that'll take them right to the page for the things. And they can always reach out to me, 917-882-5453. 917-882-5453. And I only accept phone calls from 10 o'clock until 5 o'clock at night, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you, Michael. Any last words? Any last words for anybody?
I wish everybody the absolute best and a thriving 2021 and an even better 2022. Get out there, take care of it, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Signing off now.